Rousseau believed that liberty was possible only where there was direct rule by the people as a whole in lawmaking, where popular sovereignty was indivisible and inalienable. But he also maintained that the people often did not know their real will, and that the proper society would not occur until a great leader, the legislator, arose to change the values and customs of the people, likely through the strategic use of religion. Rousseau's striking phrase that man must be forced to be free should be understood this way. Since the indivisible and inalienable popular sovereignty decides what is good for the whole, then if an individual lapses back into his ordinary egoism and disobeys the leadership, he will be forced to listen to what they decide as a member of the collectivity, i.e., as citizens. Thus the law, inasmuch as it is created by the people, acting as the body, is not a limitation of individual freedom, but its expression. Thus, enforcement of law, including criminal law, is not a restriction on individual liberty, as the individual as a citizen explicitly agreed to be constrained if, as a private individual, he did not respect his own will as formulated in the general will. Because laws represent the restraints of civil freedom, they represent the leap made by humans in the state of nature into civil society. In this sense, the law is a civilizing force, and therefore Rousseau believed that the laws that govern a people help to mold their character. In moral and political philosophy, the social contract or political contract is a theory or model originating during the Age of Enlightenment that typically addresses the question of the origin of society and the legitimacy of the authority of the state over the individual. Social contract arguments typically have that individuals have consented, either explicitly or tacitly, to surrender some of their freedoms and submit to the authority of the ruler or magistrate, or to the decision of the majority, in exchange for protection of their remaining rights. The question of the relation between the natural and the legal rights, therefore, is often an aspect of social contract theory. The social contract du contrat social ou principes du droit politique is also the title of a 1762 book by Jean-Jacques Rousseau on this topic. Although the antecedents of social contract theory are found in etiquette, antiquity, in Greek and Stoic philosophy, in Roman and canon law, as well as in the biblical idea of the covenant, the heyday of the social contract was the mid-17th and early 19th centuries, when it emerged as the leading doctrine of political legitimacy. The starting point for most social contract theories is a heuristic examination of the human condition absent from any political order that Thomas Hobbes termed as state of nature. In this condition, individuals' actions are bound only by their personal power and conscience. From this shared starting point, social contract theorists seek to demonstrate in different ways why a rational individual would voluntarily consent to give up his or her natural freedom to obtain the benefits of political order. Hugo Grotius in 1625, Thomas Hobbes 1651, Samuel Pufendorf 1673, John Locke 1689, Jean-Jacques Rousseau 1762, and Immanuel Kant, 1797, are among the most prominent of the 17th and 18th century theorists of social contract and natural rights. Each solved the problem of political authority in a different way. Grotius posited that individual human beings had natural rights. Hobbes asserted that humans consent to advocate their rights in favor of the absolute authority of government, whether monarchical or parliamentary. Pufendorf disputed Hobbes' equation of a state of nature with war. Locke believed that natural rights were inalienable and that the rule of God therefore superseded government authority, and Rousseau believed that democracy, which is self-rule, was the best way of ensuring the general welfare while maintaining individual freedoms under the rule of law. The Lockean concept of the social contract was invoked in the United States Declaration of Independence. Social contract theorists were eclipsed in the 19th century in favor of utilitarianism, Hegelianism, and Marxism, and were revived in the 20th century, notably in the form of thought experiment. Now, I've covered a lot of it, and some of my spelling isn't all that great. I'll go back over it and I'll pronounce them correctly later. What I do want to do is I want to go back in these episodes and I want to cover some of the people that's mentioned here a little bit more specifically, because there's mention of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, but there's also other players that are involved in it that I really want to pull up the information and give a clear view of what these people's philosophies were. I'm going to start up talking about, I've already covered the social contract, and my next one is going to be concerning critical thinking and or critical theory actually, and sovereignty, and then we'll discuss the differences between those two and things of that nature. These will be my first two episodes, these are my first two episodes of my discussion about U.S. government, the Constitution, and constitutional law. I really wish that we wouldn't have to discuss Marxism and critical theory, but it's an issue that does have to be discussed, so I will be discussing it. If you like what you hear so far, please like and subscribe and share if you can. Everything that we share is organic. It's got organic reach. We do not boost and we do not put money into it. It's all 100% us. Thank you. Have a good night.